Hi, Maitreyee. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to our podcast, Simply Being by Niwwrd, and we're so glad that you could join us today. And I know it's a bit of early morning for a Saturday, but I'm so happy that we are doing this, and let's get into the conversation straight away.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast. I'm very happy.
Okay, perfect. So when I got to know about this podcast that I'm gonna be doing this with you, I took an like I've already like I was following you on Instagram. I mean, who doesn't follow you on Instagram? But
A lot of people. It's only 13,000.
no, but I mean, your work is so great, and there is like so much that you have done. So, I mean, young people, like people who've just gotten out of college, you're like almost like an inspiration, and your work is like amazing. So, but something that I had noticed when I was going through through your Instagram again was that you have a very distinctive aesthetic that you have that you follow in your work, and it is very bold, but yet it feels very human. So, how did you arrive to that current style of yours?
Oh, interesting. Well, thank you for stalking me on Instagram. Very much appreciated. But usually it's just, I think if we, because even I stalk a lot of people on Instagram on daily basis when it comes to design and art and all of that. And when I go through their like first posts and what they are doing now, it's really
Yeah,
different, right?
yeah,
And the more different it is, the more interested I am usually.
yeah.
I feel like I come from a background where I like to experiment a lot. So if you see my old posts, they are also very different than what I do right now. But yeah, the one thing that has been consistent is colorful. I like to keep everything vibrant and colorful and high saturations and a lot of grains and textures and stuff. So it's nothing that I follow, but it's something that I automatically do when it comes to personal work mostly.
Okay. And you said that you have always been like a very colorful person and you want to keep a lot of color.
Not colorful person. Let me get that straight.
Okay. So,
When it
so
comes to my
how
design,
did
I'm a colorful person.
so but like how does that reflect? Like how did you, because I know it's a personal choice, right? Because me, whenever I especially pick up graphic design or anything to do like even remotely, even if it's a UI that I'm designing or just like anything in general, I'm a person who would always pick up the nudes. I'm the person who'll pick up pastels. I'm a person, that's like a personal choice that I have, that I use like a lot of darker colors and darker shades in my palette at least. And I know that a lot of people, like, it's a personal choice that comes from your own personal expression. So is
Yeah.
that something that you feel like colorful and texture, like is that something that comes from your own personal expression, or is it a choice that you are making?
It's not a choice. It's a choice when only when I'm working on projects for clients,
Mm-hmm.
because my aesthetic doesn't have to be the client's aesthetic, right?
Correct.
At all. And I don't want all of my clients to look the same as well, like me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's not a good designer of me. But mostly when it comes to personal projects, I absolutely love working with colorful palettes, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
textures and patterns and stuff. But yeah, when it comes to client projects, I think there are tons of client projects I've done which are only blues or black and whites and
Yeah.
beiges and all of that. But I do gravitate towards colors more. It can also be something really monotone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, with just blues, because blue is one of my favorite color, and the other color that I use is orange with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it, and I absolutely love playing with colors, and I feel like that's how I train my brain with the color palette part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I think that's where my expressive side comes from usually. As a very introverted person, that's why I'm saying I'm not a very colorful person. People usually always say I'm very serious when they look at me, but I'm not a very serious person. But yeah, I think that's how the design and art usually works. That's where I express more, I feel.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So, how does your creative process like looks like today, like both personally and professionally? You told me a little bit about like how, you would like your color palette changes according to the client, but how does the process of coming to a design looks like for you?
Again, it depends on the project itself. I've done tons of collaborations with a lot of brands.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing brand collaborations, they usually want me to be me, but I still like to add certain color palettes or certain aesthetic or certain personality of that particular brand that I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, the last collaboration I did was with OnePlus. It was a couple of projects I did with them.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to those particular collaborations, it was I added their specific reds to it, you know. But
Okay.
when it comes to like completely different project on its own, like in working in silos with that company, and I don't want to show myself or my style into
Hmm.
their projects because it's solely for them,
Yeah.
then the process is completely different. So I usually look for a guideline if they have any.
Uh-huh.
A lot of questions, a lot of strategy goes behind it. If all of this is already done by a company, amazing, one of the best clients that I've worked with, then
Yeah.
if not, then you have to slowly start
Hmm.
asking questions, or asking for mood boards and asking for guidelines and asking for previous projects and why it didn't work or why it worked, why we are doing this project, and all of these kind of gives me an idea on what they're actually looking for, and
Hmm.
that's how then I start finding the solution for the problem that they're having.
Got it. Got it. So, you've told me like how you have clients and you also have like a professional life going on. And I am a person who's just in corporate right now, and that only sometimes
Oh, me
becomes,
too. I'm in corporate right now for the first time
yes.
in my life.
Yeah, so you're in corporate and you also do freelance, right? So,
Right now, I'm not doing any freelance. The last freelance I did was in February end or something.
yeah, so I know that it can become like, at least like for me, the corporate is a lot of work, right? There's a lot that goes behind it, and
Yes.
after a long day of work, like I'm tired, I'm so exhausted because now I just want to like sit back and relax and not think about anything and not do anything. So with you, because you've done so many projects with so many different clients, and now that you are working with like a big corporate. So, are there any rituals or practices that you have that help you like stay creatively fresh? Because I know a lot of people struggle with that. I struggle with that a lot sometimes when your brain just like switches off, and then no matter how much you try, it doesn't work. So, is there like any ritual that you practice that helps you stay like agile and fresh through the process?
Interesting. Yeah, I have had this problem a long time ago, and I feel one of the solutions was to have a work life different, like a project life different, and a
Mm-hmm.
personal work different.
Okay.
So personal work doesn't always have to be freelance, because freelancing you're again doing it for somebody else, right? In the
Good.
end,
Yeah.
but having that personal projects for yourself that you do,
Yeah.
that's not going to go online anywhere, or that you're
Hmm.
not going to record, or no, even friends are not going to maybe look at it, and
Hmm.
having those things just for yourself definitely helps. So the
Yeah.
couple of things like I just mentioned to you before this call, I'm waiting for some Amazon packages, so I just might have to leave for that, like for a couple of minutes. I just ordered like a huge canvas sheet, which is like 5 by 12 feet, which is a
Oh
huge
wow.
sheet of canvas. So I'm
Yeah.
planning, because I have like a lot of walls that are blank. So I'm
Uh-huh.
planning on just making a painting and put it there. So having these things for yourself and for your surroundings definitely
Yeah.
helps. One thing that helps me before I leave for my job now,
Hmm.
I lay these things out
Hmm.
um, in my living room, or where I'm doing the painting and all of these things. So when I
Yeah.
come back, I don't have to think about where is this now, where is that now. So the
Got
less
it.
the friction it is, the better. So I
Huh.
just have to come, sit, and everything is laid out for me. So it's much
Got
easier for me to just keep on going. So
it. Yeah.
painting, illustrating for myself. If I see something really cool, um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching a lot of 90s anime right now, so I'm getting inspired by those. I like to illustrate some characters around it and making it into like a illustration with the character design.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm just always Figma plugins and stuff. That's something I've
Yeah.
been doing. Or vibe coding is something that I'm into a
Mm-hmm.
lot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, playing a lot of games.
Mm.
Um, I don't have a lot of time right now, but yeah, playing a lot of games is something I'm doing. But yeah, these things actually keep on happening. I hope you have something like that too. What do you do usually?
Yeah, me, I think I've always been into like reading. So
Hmm.
after a long day of work, and I like cooking, so and I stay alone, so
Nice.
it just like
Oh,
it
high
just
five.
yeah. So it's like a therapy. So I
Yes.
like going home and then like making myself a nice dinner because that's like instantly like switches. everything off in my brain, because then like my work life is like I've left my work life and now I'm here, I'm in this moment, I'm gonna make something delicious for myself, and I do that, and then I sit with like a nice book, and that helps me sometimes. But then it depends on what kind of book I'm also reading, because sometimes few things can get like really intense, and that also takes sometimes a toll on you. So then I like to keep switching books. So I'll be reading like, let's say, a thriller or something, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this is like getting too much. I'm getting anxious now, so like I'll switch and like probably read something funny, like, or maybe like something like Sally Rooney or something, which is very light, and it doesn't, you really don't need to like use a lot of your brain cells for that. So I do
That's
that.
good.
But other than that, I've been trying to like, like have more activities, like you said, painting or something. And it's been 2 years since I've moved into like this whole corporate thing, and since 2 years I've been thinking of like doing things, maybe go back and do painting, or I've been working on this book lately that it happens for a week, and then like I'll lose motivation, or I won't have the discipline to continue it. So that keeps happening, so it's always a struggle. So I'm still trying to find my balance of like understanding, okay, this is where I need to like draw a line, and this is where like things need to end, and that doesn't happen, but it's a process at the end.
It's a process. It's a process. And the one thing that I found myself that works at laying things out always work. So
Mm.
if I'm coming back home and I'm not painting that day and I have to go to the gym,
Yeah.
I just have my gym clothes and shoes and everything laid out.
Mm.
Um, so I just have to keep my bag and just take the other bag and leave. So that's
Yeah.
also helpful. Otherwise, I have to find my bag. I don't know what to wear to the gym right now. That extra
Yeah.
decision making power after the job is difficult.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that I'm gonna take away from you, because that's, and when you were talking, I was actually thinking that half of the things do not happen because I've come home and I'm so mentally exhausted at that point that I do not want to think anymore. And anything that is going to make me think, I'll like instantly do not want to do it, because I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
too much effort from my end to like do it. So I think that I'm gonna definitely take this thing that once you already lay out things, and once you come back, then you don't have to use a lot of your brain cells to like
Yeah.
complete that task. So yeah,
That
that's
helps a lot.
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna do that, because you said it and I was thinking about it and I could relate to it, and I was like, okay, maybe I should also start doing that. It'll
No,
help.
and the thing is that worked for me. It's something that my mom told me to do, and I'm like, huh, that makes sense because I'm very lazy. Like in my family, I'm known to be the laziest person ever to be alive on like planet Earth or something. Super lazy person. So extra decision making power for me is really hard. So if I have to make even breakfast in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
because again I live alone, so it's difficult for me to like getting up, and sometimes you don't feel
Yeah.
good, you've not had a good sleep, or you're in stress. So there's a lot of things that goes in your head. So
Correct.
what I do is I still like to eat healthy and do all of that stuff. So I lay out things in the morning. So if I have to make something like an Indian breakfast, then I have like upma. I absolutely love upma. So I
Yeah.
just keep like onion, the all the packets and stuff, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and even a pan. Everything is ready. So I just have to get up and cut it and do it. I don't
Oh,
have to pick things up, and the decision making
yeah,
power. I don't want to do
yeah.
it.
No, I think I do that. Like I don't lay out things, but at least for like cooking, because I need to feed myself and I can't really order from outside every day, and I avoid doing that anyways. So
Yeah.
even before I've reached home, during like the commute from office to like home, it's about like a 30 to 40 minute drive for me. And in that 30 to 40 minutes, I'll start thinking, okay, these are the ingredients that I have,
Yeah.
and this is what I can make with it. And then I'll decide on the recipe. I'll like probably like just have all my steps ready. Okay, first I need
Yeah.
to do this, and then I'll do this because this is gonna take more time. So let me like like follow these steps. So I'll have everything. I'll have a game plan in my head, and then I have to go home, and I'm like, okay, you
Oh
can't
man,
sit
you are
down.
way ahead than me then. I don't even do that.
No, I have to, because otherwise the problem is
I
that
know,
once
I know.
I'm home, and if I
Yeah.
sit, like if I'm now I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just like rest for like 5 minutes. Let me like just
Exactly.
like
And that
take a
five
walk.
minutes goes to 5 hours, and
And then I am like Now it's like 10 o'clock. I'm not gonna like cook at 10 o'clock. So either
True.
I'll just like have a fruit or curd or something like, which is there in my fridge, or I won't
Yeah.
eat anything, or then I'll end up from ordering from outside, and then I will like regret the entire night that I've ordered from outside. So it's a vicious cycle. So now I've like after 2 years, I think I've realized that if I already have a game plan in my head, it's gonna be
That helps you.
easier for me to do
Yeah,
it.
that's good. Yeah. I also have a whiteboard, like a small whiteboard that's in my kitchen.
Oh,
So I
nice.
write down the week plan that I want to kind of have.
Hmm.
So that also helps me. Like, oh, these ingredients are already there, and it also has like two buys and stuff. So I think having yourself like an automated system for yourself definitely
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, and I think when you stay alone, these things like you really have to like have a system for yourself. Otherwise,
Hmm.
like having that kind of discipline, especially like I don't know about you, but I cannot stay in discipline. So for me, it's like if I don't have a game plan or if I don't know what I'm doing, then I'm not doing anything. Then I know
Yeah.
like I'll start something and then I'll leave it, and in the middle of it, like for example, it's a very stupid thing. Like if I have not thought about doing laundry over the weekend, and if I'm not like I don't have a game plan for it, then I'm not
Hmm.
doing laundry. Like even if I
Yeah.
know I desperately need to do my laundry, but I
I
won't do my
agree.
laundry.
Thank you
So
for reminding me. I have to do laundry today. Makes sense.
so it just doesn't happen. So having a game plan is very important. So I this brings me to the question that now that you're a creative lead at Big Basket, while you also do, you've told me that you do your personal work, right? So how do you juggle with both?
Hmm. Again, like having an automated system for yourself definitely helps in these things. The kind of personal projects I'm doing right now is making a lot of getting back into art and experimenting more. So I'm learning tons of softwares and tons of tools, and that's something that will kind of push me ahead when it comes to skills.
Mm-hmm.
Or bringing value as a lead as well, and I'm always in the know of what's coming and what we can do and what we can apply in the work as well, and that's something that I actually like doing.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, if making videos for YouTube or doing podcasts like these or for my
Yeah.
channel as well or something like that, I try to keep it over the weekend because that's much more easier for me to plan. And I have
Yeah.
the whole day, I have a bright light outside, and I don't have to
Yeah.
sit in a cave and record all of these things, which I
Yeah.
don't mind, but it's usually always good to record these things in the morning.
Yeah.
At least for me, it works for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I try to always initiate my team as well for a lot of workshops.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so even if I'm going somewhere, I'm traveling somewhere, I always like put it on my stories. Are you guys in
Hmm.
Mumbai? I'm here for like a couple of days. Let's
Yeah.
meet. So these
Correct.
kind of things I always like to do, and in Bangalore also I do that things a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
another thing that we are doing right now at Big Basket is doing these monthly workshops or monthly events with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of design creatives or like just designers and stuff. That
Yeah.
also helps me a lot, and it's not always work.
Hmm.
These are something that can help us grow and new
Yeah.
things that we can learn,
Fair.
and
Yeah.
everybody kind of stay in the loop. So that helps a lot.
So, I mean, definitely there is a system that you've set for yourself, and you told me that it helps you like keep yourself like aligned to the overall goal that you have. But is there also a mindset change or mindset shift that happened with you, especially when you moved from doing freelance to like, being a creative lead? So, do you think that what was the biggest mindset shift that you went through while transitioning from a freelancer to a leading brand's creative vision?
I think the last time I've done freelance was 3 years ago. After that, so I have my studio under me for a lot of years now,
Mm-hmm.
4 5 years or something, because I've been in this industry for more than 9 10 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and most of it has always been freelancing or under a studio. So I've also
Yeah.
hired a lot of people in my studio, and
Mm-hmm.
the maximum amount of people that I've managed is 60, and it's a lot
Wow.
when you're working with those many
Yeah.
people for like big brands or big events
Correct.
that we've done. And
Yeah.
couple of those events that I've done was, let's say, Lollapalooza or like FIFA and all of those things. And when you do these things with someone else's team, it's
Yeah.
fun, but you have to be very quick in learning about their behaviors, their habits, so that it's easier for you to manage the whole team or manage the projects with each and every individual and understanding what they are good at.
Yeah.
So it takes time But in studio or as a vendor, you don't have that flexibility to take time to learn these habits.
Yeah.
So when I shifted to a corporate job a couple of months ago, was my
Hmm.
this is my first job in a very long time. I think the last job I had was in 2018 or
Uh-huh.
something, for a year or so. And yeah, so doing coming here, I think I found out one thing is I have time to slowly figure out everything. It's
Hmm.
much more calm, and I don't have to rush
Yeah.
my creativity anywhere. I
Correct.
have other people I can look up to. My manager is amazing. So he also enables me a lot. Like, you have to do this, you can do this. If you want, go for it. Your call. Take it ahead, kind of things. And that also kind of helps you to do things, because I
Yeah.
already was a manager and a
Hmm.
studio owner in my studio, but I
Yeah.
just don't want to take it for granted that I can do the same thing in a corporate job.
Hmm.
um, like, oh, we should do it this way because that's how I'm programmed.
Correct.
So rather than that, now I'm an employee, and it's like
Hmm.
a part of a team, not like a head of a team
Ahead
always.
of you. Correct. Hmm.
Even though I'm a creative lead, I don't, it's not so good of you to just, presume that you're the head of the head of the team, and it's not that
Yeah.
fun as well. So when you're
Hmm.
part of somebody, it's much more
Yeah.
fun to brainstorm with them and sit
Hmm.
with them and like, oh, do you want to do it this way? Do you have this style? Go for it. We can do
Yeah.
it this way. We can sit one day and we can brainstorm everything, and it's much more
Hmm.
fun, I feel.
Hmm.
So one shift that you asked me that has happened first was that I can take my time with my creativity,
Hmm.
which as a freelancer I didn't have that
Time.
flexibility for.
Hmm. Got it.
So
Yeah.
here I can actually lay it out in front of people.
Hmm.
I have more people to brainstorm it with. Even though I'm wrong, there are other people to give me perspective.
Yeah.
As a studio owner, or as someone who's to give services, or designing services, illustration services to clients,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing was clients used to look up to me for solutions, and my team used to look up to me for solutions. So there were like hardly any time that I
Hmm.
could have anyone I can look up to ask anything.
Correct.
So this
Hmm.
is a big shift here, and I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm learning again, and I'm a student again, and that's much more fun.
That is so nice. But definitely, I mean, uh, I can understand the kind of mindset shift that you would have had. And
Hmm.
now working with a bigger team is it has its own like pros and cons, definitely. But
Hmm.
I wanna like dig a little bit deeper in your freelance life and just to understand, like I know freelance, like when you're doing freelance, a lot of like challenges come through because, like you said, you don't even have, and especially when you're head of a agency, you don't really have anybody to look up to or somebody to come and save you in difficult situations or deal with difficult clients, right? So, what was the most difficult challenge that you faced, whether it is pricing or just client management when it comes to your when you're doing freelancing?
Difficult people. Difficult people to work with is one of the most difficult. So I've been lucky, like 95% of my clients have been the best clients I've worked with, the best people out there. The 5%, you can be unlucky. So I'm happy with the ratio that I've had. But I think that ratio also came from me saying no to a lot of projects as well.
Okay.
And people are like, oh, I think you are so privileged that you can say no. But I'm like, I'd rather say no and be in debt or like be broke for a month than
Yeah,
work with some people that I don't even want to work with.
that's amazing.
Right,
That's
because there
amazing.
have been times where I had no money, and I've been just clawing for like whatever thousands of rupees of logo designs I can do when I just started out in my college and stuff.
Yeah,
But then they'll exploit you so much for that 1000 rupees ka logo that you'll
correct.
work for a year. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'd rather spend that time somewhere else. Or
yeah,
I'd rather spend more 2 months in finding like a better client, even
correct.
for the same amount of money, but
Yeah,
who won't be as problematic.
correct, correct.
So that's the one thing that one of my mentors also taught me in a very early on in my life was to, it's okay to say no.
Hmm.
We always feel like if someone is bringing us projects, like, my God, yes, give me the project, and you have to always
Yeah,
be positive about it. And like, no,
correct.
you can be very business oriented, you can be very
Hmm.
professional,
Yeah,
and it is okay to pick and choose who you want to work with, because projects will always come in.
hmm.
As long as you're putting in effort, projects will always
Hmm.
come in. So that mindset of um, it's okay, projects will come in, it's gonna be okay. If I work really hard, I'll get better clients. That's
Yeah.
how it always come in. But the problematic clients I've had was one of my most high paying clients. I
Uh-huh.
had to fire them or let them go,
Okay.
because they one of the person there who was handling with us. There were a couple of people handling the
Mm-hmm.
projects that were coming to us and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she was not good at all.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking really rude to me and a couple of my teams as well at that point. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to have a very open conversation with my team. Like, are you happy working with her? I
Yeah.
understand she's working with, like, she's talking to me this way. Is she talking to you as well? And
Yes.
at that time, one of my junior designers, animators, he's like, yeah, she's been doing that way as well with me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't allow that. It's not good for me to keep on enabling this behavior. So we had to let her go just because of behavior. But that difficult decision of letting your highest ticketing client go just because
Mm-hmm.
of one person in their company
Yeah.
is difficult.
But then, I mean, hats off to you to have that kind of guts because I know a lot of people who would just like, give you. I know a lot of like my seniors, right? Like who would just like give you advice that you gotta like just suck it up and just like deal
Yeah,
with it. It's part of your job and it's
it's
something.
fine. It's fine, but I think couple of my, again, like, it's the cycle that someone breaks for you or you have to break for somebody.
Got it.
I've had a couple of my clients, or the first job I did, both of the founders there were amazing. So if we
Hmm.
had toxic clients, they used to come in and help out. They didn't used to fire them, but they used to always come in and help out. Like, fine, I'll talk with them. You don't have to talk with them anymore,
Correct. Correct.
or something like this. And that's why I could take it forward. Be like, that's fine. They have done it for me. I can do that for. It's not something unheard of for me.
Got
Um,
it.
I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm fine letting go of the money, but I
Yeah.
don't want to work with them anymore. We can find new clients and it's completely okay, because I'm one of the person, I really don't care about scaling my studio. I really don't care about growing my studio unless and until I'm happy about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm not satisfied, if I'm not happy, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to produce good work.
True.
So I
Right.
really don't care how much employees I have in my studio and how many founder labels I put on my LinkedIn. I've
Yeah.
done that, been there. I really don't care. If I'm not happy, if my employees are not happy or my team is not
Yeah.
happy, it's
Mm-hmm.
not worth it.
Which is, I mean, which is very fair, and we need, I think, more people like you in the industry who
No,
can.
but I understand why people don't do it, because in actual business world it doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
because people who really care about scaling, because you have to earn more and you have to, that's how you'll
Yes,
create more
fair.
jobs and
Yeah, fair.
hire more people. I understand, but the thing is, I feel like I have the luxury to pick that option, so that's why I can. um, yeah, there have been times where I'm not earn more because of all of this,
Yeah,
but I'm okay with taking that option that I fine, I'm not earning more right now.
got it. Yeah, but that's the I feel like at least that helps you sleep better at night, is what
I
I
definitely agree.
feel.
Yes, I
Yeah.
completely agree. I don't want to lose my sanity over work ever.
Yeah. So do you miss or not miss anything about like being a full-time freelancer?
I don't think I miss it yet though. Let's see after a couple of months. But I feel like this is the first time I've had the luxury again or the pleasure to like know a company from in and out and
Mm.
work on one problem for months or
Yeah.
help them build something from months, and as an internal person, because I've been doing all of this as an external person always. And as
Yeah.
an external person, maybe you're not given that much time or that much information because there's a lot of NDAs that come in and tons of other
Correct.
things.
Hmm. Hmm.
And specifically with such a big company, which is a Tata based company, Big Basket, and
Uh-huh.
we have sister companies like Starbucks and Tata Click and Crossword and Chroma and all of these companies, and
Yeah.
fitting all of them into one app, because now you can also order Starbucks from Big Basket itself.
Hmm.
So having all of this together, it does take time, and I completely understand and how you can spend years on it to perfect every inch of the app, and working that meticulously or maddeningly on that one specific problem. I never had that luxury before.
Hmm.
So this is a good place to be for now, because in freelancing I always have to think about marketing as well as how much money I'm getting in and how much salaries I have to pay, and in as a studio owner as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is like that problem I don't have anymore. I can just concentrate on working, so that's good.
Yeah. So how do you, so you said that, like you always get clients, like if you're working hard, you will eventually get clients. But how do you find freelance clients? Like through social media or referrals or like cold outreach? Like what is your process like?
Yeah, I think a lot of people ask me the same thing. I'm like, maybe on Instagram I've found one freelance client or one studio client so far
Okay, interesting.
in like 10
Okay.
years or whatever. So Instagram never worked for me ever. Behance sometimes does,
Mm-hmm.
but most of it is I play the long game always.
Okay.
Very few instances I've actually emailed somebody. I've had
Okay.
that phase of, oh my god, let's mass email everybody, that studio owner phase that comes to you,
Mm-hmm.
but it never works for me. All the clients that I've gotten, all the big brands that I've gotten are all long games. Long
Okay.
games meaning that you start putting your work out there, you start making connections, you actually make genuine connections with people,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't ask for work.
Got
I
it.
know that sounds really stupid, but uh, it's slowly that it should come from them, and that's how genuinely
Yeah.
work together.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
That's actually
mm,
like the first time I'm hearing this kind of an approach because as far as I know, like people keep telling me to put your work out because it's easier to get more clients. It's easier because people can see you have some sort of a credibility. But this is very interesting that you just told me that you've hardly got a client from Instagram, which is surprising to me.
LinkedIn, 90% it's LinkedIn. So
Oh
I
wow.
feel like a lot of my clients come from like the perspectives I've put out on LinkedIn.
Okay, got it.
I think they like the process and they like the kind of work I can do for them. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel the long term basis that I'm talking about is like I'm not actually very good at just putting out email like give me work because it hardly would work, right?
Hmm.
Um, and as someone internal in a company in a corporate world right now, if someone tells me give me work
Yeah.
from Big Basket or something,
Hmm.
I'm just going to ignore that email because I don't know them,
Correct. Yeah.
right? Even though I can see their portfolio, I don't know them. But imagine if I know you, for example, for a very long time, and we've been
Mhm.
meeting in same circles and in design outreach, or even like I do a lot of mentoring sessions, right? I
Yeah.
know the kids who come for mentoring and all of that, and I'm like, this person, this
Hmm.
person has this one spark that would be really great for the project that we are doing.
Hmm.
That's how we usually connect dots.
Hmm.
We
Okay.
should try and get them for this particular project.
Got it. Got it.
And that's how I try to keep networks for the people around me or on LinkedIn or online as
Mm-hmm.
good as I can, and just have conversations,
Hmm.
support
Correct.
them as much as you can. So
Yeah.
like again, one of my mentor, he always told me, before asking work, think about what you have given to them,
Okay.
because why should that person do anything for you? I'm
Correct.
sure that person has tons of other designers, great,
Hmm.
who've sent them like portfolios and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why you? So
Hmm.
think about that before, which changed my perspective a lot for that.
Which is actually very interesting
Very
because
fair.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's actually a very healthy way to like do any kind of collaboration because you know that person, you have certain kind of confidence, so you also like have the confidence in that person that they'll do a good job because
Yeah.
you have created a certain kind of connection with that person, so that confidence and that kind of trust also is going to help you get the best work out there. So I think that's actually a very healthy way of like doing any kind of collaboration, or even if you're looking for um, any kind of work. I think having that kind of connection and creating that kind of space for
Yeah.
yourself in the community is very important. And I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
also,
I feel like we also, sorry to cut you, but like I just want to add this point is
yeah.
we also find like we don't go out in on the street and be like, would you help me out in moving my houses, right?
Yeah.
We never do that. Like they, what have they done for me or what have I done for them?
Yeah,
So you
yeah, yeah.
build friendships with someone and then you slowly care for each other and you help out each other, and then you ask your friends if they want to help you, and even if they don't want to, you don't take it to your heart because yeah, they might have their life going on or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah.
when it comes to online asking for work, people take it so personally without doing anything for the company or for them. So I think we have to understand from their perspective as well, like why should they hire you?
No, fair, which is very fair.
Very
And
fair.
yeah, and I think that kind of like that kind of a space that you create for yourself in the community, because community is huge, right? Like you have
Yeah.
all kinds of people in the community, but knowing where you fit and knowing which like who are the people that you want to deal with or who are the people that you want to keep close in your connection
Yeah.
is very important. And I think most of us do not really know about it, and nobody really talks about it also, because and this is the first time I'm hearing someone talk about it like this, because I personally have always been a advocate of creating connections, and like I told you that I like talking to people, and that just talking to someone can open your minds so much, and just create that kind of connection. So even if tomorrow I don't have any work for you, but let's say a third party comes to me and tells me that, oh, I'm looking for someone who can do this in this project, and because I've spoken to you, my mind will be like, oh, this person is actually the best person who can do this job. So that actually will get you more work than anything else,
I
because
agree. I agree. So
yeah.
I mean, in the end, also like most of my also clients came from uh, mouth to mouth publicity.
Hmm.
A lot of them came from mouth to mouth publicity. So
Hmm.
there have been clients which I've worked with her for like bigger brands
Yeah.
on like a lot of different projects and all of that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
there also have been times where she has given me like, oh, my husband is building a startup. I
Uh-huh.
trust you with the work that you do. Can you help
Yeah.
him as well? And I'm like,
Oh,
that's
wow.
like that means they trust me a lot,
Lot. Yeah. Yeah.
and I have to give my best to all of this.
Hmm.
So most of the clients do come from there,
Hmm.
and I feel like building that trust again and again and keeping them in the loop and sharing with them a lot of let's say references and keeping them
Yeah.
like, or even doing certain things without expecting anything out of it. So I
Yeah.
remember the first client I actually reached out that give me work, and
Hmm.
still working with her after 7 years,
Oh,
like
wow.
before I joined Big Basket. So I still worked with her like for 7 years for that
Yeah.
span of
Huh.
period. And she is on another side of the world. She just posted out on online that I am looking for a designer and all of that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I went through her company, her work. I made like a deck that was
Yeah.
would have been expected from me if she hired me.
Yeah.
Tons of designs that she can post for the whole month,
Correct.
like 15 posts or something, and then I
Oh,
had couple of templates and couple of color palettes and few typefaces that would be good for her and her company. I
yeah.
packaged this all up and I just sent it, and I told her I would love to work with you,
Huh.
and you don't have to tag me anywhere or do anything. If you like this, start posting it right now. I think these would kind of help you.
Yeah. That is so cool. I,
Yeah,
I
they
don't
didn't
think
post
anyone.
anything, but they hired me. So, but they're like, oh, we want more curated work like this.
Yeah, but
So
which is very
that
cool.
helped.
Like, and that, like the effort that you put, right? Like, people are so scared to just put out their work. Like, I know when I was looking for a job, I was so scared because I was like, okay, I want to do this, but I'm not sure if I should be doing this, if I should like create a curated portfolio for a certain company that I want to work with, because I don't know if they like it, or
Yeah.
if I want to approach someone. There's always this little bit of a friction that comes, that a little like you're really hesitant. But
Yeah.
I think what you said really makes sense, because how else are they gonna know that you exist? Like if you don't do it, how else are they gonna get any confidence on you? So
And I
that's
feel like a lot of designers also have like different work,
yeah,
but they're pitching for different work,
correct.
right? So like they won't have anything illustration based or illustrator based on like software wise or design wise. They might be working only on Figma or something like that and UI, but they'll be like, I can do illustrations for you. And I
Yeah,
go through their portfolio and I barely see one or
see,
two. But
correct.
I then ask them like, how can you do this? I don't see anything. Can you just point
Yeah,
me to the right project? They're like, no, 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 I've not done many, but I know I can. I'm like, how can I blindly trust you?
yeah,
Right? I need something out of it. Like a client is not going to hire me for 3D design because I don't
correct.
have anything 3D design, and I
Yeah,
don't do
yeah.
3D design. But I
Hmm.
can't just tell them, "Key, trust me, I'll get
I
it
do
done."
it.
I
Yeah.
got it. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen that way, right? You
Yeah.
can't go to a Starbucks and then tell them, no, make a samosa for me, very desi samosa.
Yeah.
They can do it, sure, but how
Yeah.
would you trust that you would actually like it,
Correct. Yeah. No, which is
right?
fair, which is completely fair. So, what kind of brands or clients excite you the most when to like work with, especially?
I don't think it's the work or project specifically. It's always been how much I can learn out of it.
Hmm.
So, for example, it's like I always tell clients I am not the best designer out there,
Hmm.
but is it okay if I experiment? And most
Yeah.
of the clients are good to go with it, like, oh, all right, sure, we would love to do that. So
Yeah.
there are some collaborations that I've done which are a hit and which are really completely a miss, but I'm just happy that I can be expressive and
Hmm.
just experiment, because I always feel like no one's going to be a, at least me, I don't think I'm going to be a best designer out there, so why am I wasting my life
Hmm.
thinking about putting out the perfect work out there, right? What I
Yeah.
want to do is experiment and have fun with the work
Yeah.
that I do, and if
Hmm.
a brand is okay with it,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy with it. So right now, the experimentation I'm doing at work is um, a lot of strategy on how I can make it better. So the other day also we went to a dark store, which is like a back-end store where everything
Hmm.
products get picked up and they're
Hmm.
delivered and stuff. And a
Yeah.
lot of my teammates have been working on the back-end driver app as well, which
Okay.
has recently been updated and all of that thing. So we were trying to find if there are certain problems with the drivers, and if they find the app okay, there are
Hmm.
certain things that we might have missed
Yeah.
that they find is important, but
Hmm.
we don't think about it that way. And
Correct.
doing all of that thing makes me like, oh my god, this is amazing. Oh, I didn't think about it that way. I've been thinking
Yeah.
from an aesthetic point of view, or like
Yeah.
strategy, which matters to me and not for the
Yeah.
drivers, maybe.
Correct.
And when you actually get down to the ground, you understand, like, oh, this doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
I think they just want like one big button and they're good to go.
Yeah, no, which is true. So, I also think because we've spoken so much about credibility and how do clients really like trust you, uh, so I know that a lot of your clients have come from, people who already know your work. So there is almost like already like certain kind of confidence on you and certain kind of credibility on your work and everything. But how do you, as a like once you interact with the client, right? So how do you build the trust with the client in like first interaction? Because I know that the first interaction is probably the most important interaction that you'll have, because that's the time you are meeting the client and they are seeing you for the first time, they're talking to you for the first time. So how do you build that kind of trust with them?
I think a lot of people think building that trust is having solution for the first call.
Hmm.
But actually, clients are not looking for an exact solution on the first call. And if you do give a solution on the first call, they are like, you've not thought it through. You just gave something that came to your mind. You didn't give it as much time.
Correct,
Um,
correct.
so the first trust building conversation should always be asking a lot of questions,
Hmm.
right? Um, Imagine you going to a healthcare appointment to a doctor, and you just tell them like, oh, I'll do it. They're like, but what do you want to do? Like, I'm fine, I'm doing, here's my money. And even they'll question you, like, fine, we'll take your money, but is it black money or something, or are you just trying to like, what is happening, right? Are you going to
Yeah.
bail on them afterwards, or
Correct.
because you have
No.
not put in as much time?
Yeah.
Then you actually sit with them and you ask them, oh, what's your name, how many years have you been practicing, what can I be looking forward from these blood tests that I'm doing, and oh, really, do I need this though, okay, I don't need it, fine, what about this then? And then they're like, oh, maybe that person is actually interested,
Hmm.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
So as a designer as well, try to ask a lot of questions and try to um, be like, oh, let me go through all of my notes once and get back to you.
Hmm.
So maybe let's do another call in a couple of days, and let them also invest time in you.
Got it.
That also makes them kind of bound to you in a way. And
Yeah.
the more information they give to you, they don't want to start doing it again and again with other people then. And the
Correct,
more
correct.
understanding you are, the better it is
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah, no, which is fair. I think once they also know you, and then I think once you ask more questions, because then the client will be like, this person knows what she is doing. She knows what to take out of our vision and how to understand us, and she really cares about what we want. Because I think one of the major issues that I have at least seen is that because the clients are not designers and they don't understand our jargons, our lingos, or just our process, in general, it's very difficult for them to like comprehend that how much amount of work or how much thinking goes behind
Hmm.
doing a one motif or
Yeah.
choosing the colors, right? They think it's all easy and it's, all a nice butter walk, but it's actually not, and you have to like really think this through. So maybe the more you talk to them, the more they
Hmm.
also understand that, okay, there is
Yeah,
a
of course.
lot of things that we need to consider. So I think that also I helps you also to like sell your idea later in as you
I
go.
agree. I think
Otherwise,
we expect people to
yeah.
know what we're doing, like
Yeah.
through and through, when even we
Yeah.
don't know exactly what we are doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, I mean, I don't know what goes through like a marketing person's head. I really don't know how much time it takes for them to get a sponsorship. And for me, it's like, you know what, you should get a sponsorship for an event we're doing, you know. But for them, they have to go to their office,
yeah.
sit with
Yeah.
the team. Maybe that team is not available. The amount of
Yeah.
money they're putting in, doing that transaction as well. There's tons of things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Specifically, again, with the dentist analogy that I usually and always give is um, filling it to karna hai. I just have to do the filling in my teeth. But it takes time, and for me, it's like half an hour would be enough. But then they're like, no, but if you're doing this type of filling, which is necessary for you, we have to do this first, and then that first, and we have to clean
Yeah,
it first, and
yeah.
then
The
we don't
process
know the
matters.
process. And it's
Yeah,
always good to explain that on why we are doing certain thing.
yeah,
Otherwise, the client is always going to be, no, I don't need it. And you have to
yeah,
tell them and if you need it or not. And if you don't, then also tell them that as well. Ki, okay, if you
yeah,
don't want to do this, maybe do it this way because this would be better. But
yeah.
maybe you don't have the budget or time for this.
Hmm.
Let's do it this way. Maybe this is a less risky option.
Hmm. But so you spoke about like the clients understanding and like how we can build that kind of relationship and trust. But then let's look at it from a business point of view, right? Like you, because at the end you gotta pay your bills, so you also need money, right?
Yeah.
So how did you learn to like price yourself fairly and confidently? Because I feel like that's one of the major problems that most of the at least the new freelancers they face, because the moment you quote a certain price, they're like, oh, this is a little too much, it's out of budget for me, I don't think I can pay you so much. And then you're like, no, but I think this is the correct price because this is the amount of work I'm gonna do. And you can't really argue with them because you can't explain them. And then they're like, oh, there are other designers in the market who can do it for cheaper. So,
Yeah.
there's always this conflict of like, do I put my foot down and quote the price I want, or do I just like I said before, suck it up and do it just because, you need a little bit of cash. So,
No, I completely agree. There have been a lot of projects which I have just taken up because I needed to pay my bills, right?
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but there are like if you want to price right, in a way there is no right ever because
Okay.
it depends on the country you're working from and the
Mm-hmm.
people you are hiring and amount of
Yeah.
people you're hiring, the quicker you are giving, all of this kind of comes in. But the
Correct.
one thing that I've found out is um, I think pricing in a range always has helped me. So for
Okay.
example, if someone asks me, how much is this illustration for?
Hmm.
At least logo design people are like, oh, you have to put in so much effort and all that.
Hmm.
But sometimes illustration is really subjective,
Correct.
right? So at that point, I'm like, oh, it completely depends on why am I doing it and for whom.
Okay.
So it can cost from like 50,000 to like 10 lakhs, depending on what I'm doing it for and how much time you're gonna use it for and all of that stuff. And then they're like, 10 lakhs for what? For an illustration, you just have to do it one day, right, or one time, and then you have to take them through like it is actually a license-based thing sometimes. And
Yeah.
if you're doing it for let's say Starbucks, right? Starbucks maybe use that illustration in couple of their places, like couple of their cafes and couple of
Yeah.
their locations. And if it's going to be printed, then that's a different license. And the
Correct.
more visibility it's going to get, the more usage gonna get out of it, and the more the artist gets the cut out of it. Or
Yeah.
sometimes if you don't want to do that for the license based thing, you
Mm-hmm.
can just pay me one time, and that one time can be a bit higher.
Got it.
Then you
Got
don't
it.
have to think about it. That illustration is completely yours. Just put me
Yeah.
down like illustration by Maitreyee Kalaskar and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So it completely depends on what you want. They're like, but
Correct.
we don't have 10 lakhs. I'm like, all right, fine. How much do you have?
Yeah.
Right? And then they're like, we don't know exactly. But I'm like, you tell me what you have and I can tell you what I can give you in that.
Correct.
And then
Correct.
they're like, okay, we have like 2 lakhs.
Huh.
And I'm like, all right, then I can actually give you this much, this, and then I can
Yeah.
give this for you. And they're like, oh, okay, can we add this into it? And if you feel like you want to pay me your bills and you need this project, you say yes. Otherwise, you say
Yeah.
no. But
No.
I think you have to think about how much time it takes, how many months it's
Hmm.
gonna take that
Hmm.
illustration to be done. If it's a
Hmm.
print one, because print takes a bit more much time because
Hmm.
you have to think about if it's going to be enlarged or not in
Hmm.
long term. It's gonna
Hmm.
be printed on a wall or something. So you
Yeah.
have to illustrate everything in really high format or like vector or
Correct.
something.
Huh.
Tons of things. You have to curate it
Yeah.
for print, and
Hmm.
it's a lot of things. Yeah,
Okay. So, we've you said that you've been in this industry for almost 10 years now, right?
9, 10. Yeah.
And yeah, 9 to 10 years, and you have worked with like so many different clients, and you
Hmm.
worked on so many different projects. And you also mentioned about you doing mentorship for younger designers, right?
Hmm.
So, what is this one thing, something that you wish, that younger designers understood more about the creative industry?
Oh, to not go with trends. Uh, as in like learning or like as their career, you
Hmm.
can do trends for design, sure, it's needed in the industry, but don't base your whole career on trends.
Got it,
um,
got it.
I've seen tons of people like, oh, UI design or like product design, people
Yeah,
earn the most, right? I'm
correct,
like,
correct.
no, as a illustrator, sole illustrator for a year, I have
Yeah,
earned twice as much as a product designer on my own as a freelancer.
yeah,
There is no, like, there is nothing out there that tells you like product designers do it unless and until it's like a design influencer just telling that to you.
yeah.
So you
Hmm.
have to understand. Oh, another thing is like blindly following a design influencer,
Hmm.
right? You have to see if you actually find their work good or not, because I see tons of people doing the same thing again and again. Like you can see again the amount of designs that I create.
Hmm.
If I come under an influencer, sure, but that is my style and my style only,
Correct.
right?
Hmm.
You can copy my style, go for it, have fun
Hmm.
with it, because I
Hmm.
don't own a style,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. Fair.
Unless
Huh.
and until you are copying it like line by
Fair.
line,
Huh.
go for it. But then the thing is, you are not experimenting it enough. That influencer or that designer has come to
Hmm.
that specific style after years.
Hmm. Hmm.
The main thing of you following tons of people is to find your own calling.
Correct. Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of designers following design influencers who talk
Hmm.
more than they have on their portfolio.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then when I have to hire people who have like learned from their
Yeah.
design influencers, or and this problem has been going not just for me, but I
Hmm.
know tons of people who are like
Yeah.
design heads and design leads in like main companies in India right now or even abroad.
Yeah. Yeah.
They see the same problem.
Yeah.
Junior designers, they want to learn from somewhere, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
colleges are not the best right now.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
they learn from design influences, which is completely agreeable, but they don't put
Huh.
their minds to it and they don't learn from their own
Yeah.
experiences.
Hmm.
Um,
Correct.
they'll do one certain thing because this so and so influencer told. But
Hmm.
influencers are not doing corporate jobs, or
Yeah.
rarely any of them are doing projects for clients and not
Correct.
collaboration.
Correct.
Collaboration,
Correct.
it's you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
When you're doing a project, it's
Hmm.
completely for the client.
Yeah.
So
And
not a
then
lot
you're
of design influencers are doing that
correct.
right
Huh.
now.
Huh.
So a lot of junior designers are not understanding what it takes to actually work for an actual client,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is not about collaboration. It's about
Correct.
their own project, and they just
Correct.
think like I'm going to do a black and white logo, and then the client can suck it. Literally, I had like a paid mentorship session the other day, and that girl just told me, "But what if I want to do black and white designs?"
Huh.
I'm like, you can do it. If the client
Yeah.
is okay with it, you can go for it. But no,
Correct.
nowadays clients are looking for a bit more vibrant.
Huh.
I'm like, see, either you can be a very niche designer,
Correct. Huh.
like I'm only going to do black and white designs, and then the world can suck it, kind of thing,
Hmm.
right? And you can come to me and for that specific thing,
Hmm.
it does work. You can actually earn really well, like really good money out of it.
Correct.
Otherwise, be a good service provider and actually
Huh.
add your designs and the client's one, or just actually
Yeah.
work for clients specifically for their
Correct.
project.
Correct. Huh.
And then you can't complain that I'm not getting money or that
Money
I'm
or
not getting
enough
a specific,
clients. Yeah. Right. Hmm. Yeah.
because you have your own niche.
Correct. Huh.
Maybe like a colorful client or like a kid's book illustration or a
Hmm.
kid's
Hmm.
skincare client or whatever, like a
Hmm.
something that for kids, which is a lot of
Hmm.
pastels and all of that. They're not going to
Yeah.
come for your black and white designs, and then you
Correct.
can't expect them to come as well.
Yeah. Which is fair. Which is fair.
People don't understand that, and I feel like that there's a huge gap, and I know where that gap is coming from is like people who are actually working for these brands or
Mm-hmm.
these clients for them, they don't have
Mm-hmm.
the time to make content out there,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like actually what it like what goes behind the scenes.
Correct, correct. But
uh,
then also, I feel like, okay, so if I, like, I at least have seen this a lot, that because of these design influencers, right? Or there are a lot of design influencers who have worked for certain years and
hmm,
now they are on social media
hmm,
putting
hmm,
out like amazing visuals and,
yeah.
um, but I have always been, um, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm a person who loves design process. Okay. I love the entire process of researching to like coming up with insights to like
Yeah.
understanding the problems and then doing a solution. So I'm a person who loves design process and I have fell in love with it after I joined my design college. Like it took me a while to understand design and it took me a while to understand what part of it I really enjoy doing and it took me a while to actually like understand what design is, because for most of the people design is just about the aesthetic value of it, which I do not agree with. And but then when I was in college and I would see all these nice big influencers like designers who are like have like some million followers on their Instagram page and they're putting like amazingly cool visuals and you look
Yeah.
at it and you're like, wow, this is the kind of work I want to do. And then you subconsciously start to like copy them because you want to be as cool as them. But then the more like now I think I'm at a stage of my life or in my career at least where even if I see something cool, my brain is not going to be like, oh, it's cool, but then what is the process?
I'll
Why
show
have
you. The thing is, like, a lot of times, even I have gone through it, and I'll quickly show you on how you can get inspired and not
huh?
copy someone directly, and you still feel like, oh, that
Yeah,
person is
see,
so cool.
exactly. This is where I was coming to that, to be inspired is something completely different, but to
Yes.
like pick it up from them and think that okay, you can gain that kind of popularity just by like doing what they are doing is I feel like where most of us miss the point.
I get it. So, right now, the recent ones I'll just show you. This was one of the illustrations that I did.
Huh.
So, nowadays, I'm putting a lot of personal work, right? Or
Yeah.
like, this is another type design with like illustration that I
Yeah,
did
this one I
together, right?
absolutely love. Yeah.
Yes. The other, so the people who are behind that inspiration,
Yeah.
I'll show them to you as well. So there is this artist I absolutely love, and I've been following her for like 6, 7 years now.
Okay.
Her name is Amber Victoria.
Okay.
Okay, and she does a lot of experimentative work, and
Oh
it's
wow.
all colors.
Yeah.
She has her own line of H&M home collection.
Oh wow.
She has done a really great job, and she always works with a lot of colors and everything.
Colors. Yeah, I can see
And
how
I get
vibrant.
so inspired by that. And whenever I'm creating something that, so I
Yeah.
screenshot her colors sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I want to pick these things, and I always make sure to send it to her, like, oh my god, I did this with the work that
Yeah.
you've done. And
Yeah.
she also
Yeah.
appreciates like someone is not exactly copying her work because she
Yeah.
goes through that a lot. The other
Correct.
person is Michael Figosa, amazing friend again. He's working in Adobe. So I
Mm.
worked with Adobe once, and all thanks
Mm.
to him, I could do illustrations for them.
Mm.
Um, but again, like his work is really dynamic. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. Very, very dynamic. Yes.
Very
And
dynamic and
yeah.
super cool. And I also love the layering and the textures that he uses. And a lot of my
Yeah.
design inspiration does come from it.
Oh wow. That's
It's
beautiful.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can mix a couple of artists and then you can come to your own thing and then find your
Yeah.
own thing, which is
Yeah.
completely
Right.
fine.
But then that's what I was trying to tell you that even if you want to do that as a designer, but when you are so young in your career, like you get so intimidated because there are so many like great designers out there who are doing amazing job, and they keep posting online, and
Yeah.
it's almost so like it's so intimidating that you're scared to like put yourself out, and even to like find your own voice, it becomes very difficult because you're like, what if it's not good enough?
It's
That
fine.
that
Who
that's a
cares?
dilemma that I think most of
Who
the
cares?
designers go through.
No, I always used to be like that, and like, oh, I'm only gonna put this work out there
Uh,
only when the work is ready.
hmm.
But it's not always about if the work is ready. It's always
Correct.
about if I'm ready. And the
Correct.
thing is, you're
Correct.
never going to be ready for these things. And we
Hmm.
always look for perfection as designers. That's something that we all maybe share. Is that we
Hmm.
always look for perfections even in small things. Even
Yeah.
it can be like subconsciously as well. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, this illustration can be so much better. It
Yeah.
always can be better. And
Correct.
because design is so subjective, it
Yeah.
is always going to keep on getting better, which is like amazing part of it. But you don't have
Yeah.
to get stuck on one thing. You can
Yeah.
keep on creating other things and new things and make part two or volume two of the same illustration, and no one is going to stop
Yeah.
at it. People are going to
Correct.
like it. And
Hmm.
the one thing that another mentor of, I'm so happy I have got like tons of good mentors. Another mentor of mine told me was,
Yeah.
Maitreyee, like, don't wait for perfectionism. Sometimes done is better than perfect.
Hmm. True.
Because you're always going to keep on wanting to make things perfect, which is a great trait. But the thing is, that trait can also push you down. It's
Yeah.
not done yet. It's not done yet. Because we don't have one solution for anything.
Yeah.
And we also forget sometimes because of social media, Pinterest, and Behance that we find that there is a specific style of design, there is not. Um,
Yeah.
so whatever you do is also design.
Hmm.
It might not be what Pinterest design is, but
Yeah.
your design is also design. Put
Yeah.
things out there. Like if you, I would suggest people go through my old Instagram work. It's shit. It's really bad, but I've kept it there because I feel like I want to see from where I've come from and how I've grown, and that
Yeah.
the difference between the work also kind of helps you. Like, not bad. I can see growth,
Yeah.
and that also helps you to see of what you've posted before and now, and to see yourself grow as well is a great place to be.
Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of people also look for too. Like
Yeah.
especially when you're applying for a job, they also want to know if you're agile enough to like adapt to the company. And when you show that kind of a portfolio that you have, where you've tried multiple things, you've experimented, and then now you have like sort of like figured out your own style or your own vibe. But that
Hmm.
also shows that you're capable of change, you're capable of like adapting to
Yes.
newer things, or you're capable of just experimenting, and like just being just having fun with your work. And
Yeah.
uh, that I think is very important. And
I agree.
I agree with you that just putting yourself out, I know it's difficult, I haven't done that yet. And
Oh,
I
why?
I mean, I always also I'm an interaction designer, so it gets a little difficult for me to like put down things visually. I'm still trying to like figure out how I can use in like Instagram as a
Hmm.
medium for me to like put myself out. And I think doing podcast is one way, because yeah, like at least I get to listen to great people like you, and also like put down few of my thoughts that I
Hmm.
have, and that's also like is helpful. That's one
Yeah,
way of doing it, is what I
I
feel.
agree.
But I also have to like still like I can always I have put like a couple of projects on Behance and whatever, but then I still haven't like really gotten into the you know putting your
You
work
know
on
what?
social media.
People
So
think about Behance also so seriously a lot of times.
yeah.
Like, oh, I have to curate the whole project in a very specific way.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah,
it's not good to go on Behance, right? I'm like,
correct.
no one cares. Seriously. Like, unless and until really, like, people are so concentrating on their own work that they'll look at your work, they'll judge. Everybody's gonna judge. I'm sure we judge other
Yeah.
people work, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm-hmm.
see the kind of projects I have put on Behance,
Yeah.
bare minimum, really bare minimum. But I feel like, and they're like, oh, you should, design it a bit better, and the
Yeah.
Behance um, project should look a bit curated and it should look a bit more professional because you have it in you. You can still do it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want to because I feel designers are not going to hire me.
Yeah.
So a lot of my projects on Behance are all huge, like big fonts and mostly images and really small
Yeah.
explanation
Mm.
and stuff, because
Yeah.
most of my clients who hire me go through my
Yeah.
work on their phone.
Correct.
I want it to be better on their phone rather than, oh my god, look at the curation, a lot of blank
Yeah.
slide with one image in the center. I don't want to do that. They're not
Yeah.
going to understand anything out of it,
Correct. No,
right?
I agree with that.
Most of my,
Right.
even my website, um, even my studio's website was so simple.
Hmm.
It was the name, one small hamburger like menu or something, like about, contact
Yeah.
and something.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And just projects. I do want to make like a really elaborate design portfolio for designers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, my main always, I'm like efficient. My
Yeah.
efficiency was like, I want clients, right? And clients don't want to go through like a really complicated website just to hire
Right.
somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So I
which is
have just to
fair.
always keep it simple.
No, and I feel also like, right, you need to, this is something that one of my mentor told me, that you need to understand who is on the other side, right? So when I
Yes.
say on the other side, it could be your client, it could be your boss, it could be a fellow designer. So you need to understand who is looking at your work, and you need to know how to sell it to them, because everybody is going to look at it from their own perspective and their own eye, right? So if I'm looking for a job, I'm not going to, my first thing is that, okay, my HR, like the HRs are going to, like, probably choose you. So it has to be simple, it has to be really visually pleasing, because the HR is not going to be interested in the process, and they're going to look at my portfolio from a point of view that, oh, does it look nice or not, because
Yeah.
that's all they can think, because they're not
Yeah.
designers. And
Yes.
once that stage is passed, and when my fellow designer or my boss or whoever is going to look at my portfolio
Yeah,
to
yeah.
hire me, then probably that person is going to, probably, which is
Yeah.
again like a 5% chance, that person
Yeah.
is going to sit through my portfolio, because nobody has the time to do it. So
No,
it
and
has
you
to
know
be
what? Like
very
that
simple.
judgment is done literally. So recently, also, we were going through some portfolios with my manager, and I also looked it on my phone because he sent it to me in the evening, all the links.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, just go through it and pick a couple of people. I have to
Yeah.
give them like certain like emails and
Yeah.
stuff. I have to start a
Huh.
process. I went through, like, he sent me like 10 links, right? Almost 10 links. He
Yeah.
sent it to me in the evening where my
Huh.
laptop was somewhere else, I was somewhere else, but I
Huh.
had to send that link to him. And even
Yeah.
as a designer, I didn't
Huh.
open those links on my laptop.
Yeah. Because nobody has the time for it, right? Like,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if that's an actual problem, right? How would
yeah.
you solve that as a designer for
Hmm.
yourself?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, you take so much time. Like in our, so I have done my bachelor's in fine arts, right? And in
Hmm.
those things like commercial art and applied art, and we were taught like every print material has a specific amount of time that people go through it. Like a
Correct.
billboard,
Hmm.
sure, it's a huge space that you can put your text on and stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of information on stuff. People have 1 to 2 seconds max to go
Max.
through it because you're on the way. You just look
Yeah.
at it and you just go through it. In that second, are you going to
Hmm.
understand what it is about?
Yeah.
Right? As a designer who's designing it, I can't be like, oh, people should take time. No,
Yeah, because it's not meant for
no,
that.
it's
Yeah.
not meant for that. So that's the way. Even portfolios, people think everybody has time, but designers sure do have time.
Yeah.
Designers will go through your portfolio really well.
Yeah.
And they'll go through each and everything like, oh, this is the cover page, oh, I see and how this is designed and everything. But a client
Yeah.
who's going to hire you for whom the portfolio is actually for,
Hmm.
they don't have the time.
But even designers, if you are applying to a company and if there are other fellow designers who are going to look at your portfolio, they don't have the time to actually look and sit through your portfolio.
I'll tell you one more thing. Even if they do have the time,
They won't.
but managers, no, creative leads and managers, if we do have the time, a little bit
Yeah.
as well, we also
Yeah.
just skim through it. But we
Yeah.
understand who's actually a good designer and who's not
Correct.
because of the
Correct.
process and
Yeah.
the aesthetic of it.
Yeah. But I mean, also the fact that people don't know how to, like, this is something that I recently noticed, because, like, in my college also, like, I was called to, like, just go through a couple of portfolios, and I really didn't have time. And my HOD of that time and dean was like, okay, Chetna, can you, like, just, like, help, like,
Yeah.
go through the portfolio and let us know what you think. and I didn't have the time, but I had to like give them some sort of a response because it's only fair, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have the time, so I quickly like just glanced through all the portfolios, and what I realized that there was like out of like probably 12 or 13 portfolios that I looked at that day, one one of the portfolios that really stood out to me, and then I took my time to go through that portfolio because
Yes.
first it has to catch my eye, and then once it caught my eye, it was only when I'll want to dig deep into it. Otherwise I'll be like, huh, theek hai, it's okay, it's fine,
Yeah.
like it's average work for
Yeah.
me.
And even the worst part about all of this is, imagine your aesthetic or your style doesn't match with the person who is looking at your portfolio.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing. Like
Yeah,
whatever might catch my eye might not catch yours, right?
correct.
So
That
it's
is
all
also
chance, I feel, when
yeah,
it
it
comes
is
to
all.
design.
No, definitely.
But yeah.
And as an interaction designer, because I get a lot of interaction projects to look into, that's one of the major problems that I feel that exists because interaction design is so like um, research heavy, or you
Hmm.
gotta like you have to like explore through a lot of things and a lot of systems, and it's just so much text in the portfolio
Yes.
that is
Yes.
absolutely unnecessary. If we are hiring you as an interaction designer, we already assume that you know the process. What do you want? What we
But
really want
the
to see
thing
is
is,
this execution.
there should be always be two types of designs, like
Mm-hmm.
work. So
Put.
I've seen like lead
Huh.
designers or
Huh.
senior designers now that I hire, or I have even hired for tons of companies.
Yeah.
Uh, they always ask me to come in and just help them hire, right? Because sometimes they
Yeah.
don't have the time, and a lot of times design consultants like me are hired by a lot of
Yeah.
companies for all of this.
Hmm.
Um, so the thing is, senior designers, and I'm saying all of this for junior designers who are just starting out, and
Hmm.
specifically senior designers and lead designers, we have a different PPT, a
Hmm.
presentation, a deck, which has all the text,
Yeah.
and the visual ones are on Behance and
Got it.
websites.
Got
That's
it.
the aesthetic one. It doesn't have much. It's just for you to get started on, just to kind of understand the vibe. But we have
Correct.
another deck which has, because as a lead or as a head, I want to tell people, like, because we worked with this, their revenue was 2 crores in like 1 week, 1 month, and we did this for them, and that's the process, and there's tons of things, and it's supposed to be
Yeah.
there, but we did do this through a PPT. We don't put this for
Got it.
public ever, because tons of these projects are under NDAs.
Hmm.
They are a very personal thing or an internal thing for a client that we have worked with, or
Yeah.
for a company that we have worked with, and we don't want to put it for
Yeah.
like a good professionals relationship sake. We don't want to put this on social media anywhere, because once you start doing that, the company who's going to hire you is going to also think that if he would or she would put the same information about us online ever.
Got it. Got it.
So
Yeah.
there are tons of things, so a lot of
That's actually
things
a very
just
good
visual is online.
insight. No, definitely. This is such a good insight because I don't think so anybody knows about this. Like, I have never seen any of the senior designers talking about doing this kind of a arrangement for your work because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever you make in your portfolio has to be, it has to have everything. But
Yeah.
it doesn't really need to have everything. And I think that's a really good insight here because nobody really knows. Like I'm hearing it, I knew about this, but I knew about this from a very different point of view. But
Yeah.
you saying this like this, it just makes a lot of sense.
Because people don't think about what would happen after they leave as well. And if you
Mm.
start bad mouthing a company or start putting their secrets online, no one is going to hire you, because the
Hire
next
you.
company is going to fear, because you're going to do the same to them.
True.
So
Very
being
true.
professional outside of the work and your social media and Twitter, because people go through everything, trust me,
Everything. Hmm.
you
Yeah,
have to be
definitely.
professional in a way if you have to go.
Definitely.
But yeah, that
Okay,
helps.
so we are coming to an end to this podcast, and I have one last question to ask you, and then we can call it a day.
Sure.
So, what's next for you, in your creative journey, like creatively or personally? What's next? What do you think is the next step? Where do you see yourself going next? What is the next big thing that we're gonna expect from you?
For now, I'm just happy working right now. This is the next step. I've just started a couple of months back, and I'm
Okay.
super happy with this because I get to learn so many things from my manager and
Yeah.
my team as well. This is
Uh-huh.
the world I've never seen, and it's always fun to learn and work with like a bigger team, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
So doing that for an app which I have ordered from a lot of times and trying
Mm-hmm.
to help them on how I can curate their visual identity better with the team is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, that's it. And the other thing I would love to do is start learning new softwares and tools, and start applying it as a multimedia um, experimentation with the illustrations that I do. So
Yeah.
let's see and how that would go. But I think my core value, or like the core principle that I always go for, is I want to experiment. That's it. As much as I can and challenge myself. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm happy.
Awesome. So we'll keep an eye. I'll keep an eye on what you're doing. And thank you so much for doing this and having this conversation with me. I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of
And
fun too.
so we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for doing this with Simply Being. Your insights, I'm sure everybody is going to be really inspired by you, and I hope the young designers are going to learn more and more. So thank you so much, Maitreyee. It was really nice talking to you.